Hi, and welcome to another episode of the 8-Bit Retro Refix. And on this week's episode, we're looking at another Commodore 64. This Commodore 64 came to me quite a long time ago, probably about 5 years ago. It's been sat in storage. I wasn't very knowledgeable back then, as much as what I am today. So I've just used it as a donor, and I've stolen the SID and I've stolen the PLA chip out of it. But today, we're going to find out what's wrong with this one. It does show a black screen. It wasn't the PLA back in the day when I looked at it. It was furthered in. It wasn't any of the kernel ROMs or anything like that. So I'm suspecting that it's probably either the glue logic for the memory or a memory chip itself. So, without further ado, let's get to it. So, I can't quite remember what it's going to be in here. I have a sneaky suspicion that it may be either the memory logic or the memory itself. But we're going to take a look at that now. So I'm just going to pop out the first 3 screws. We only have 3 screws. There's one here. There's one there. And one over here. We'll just tip that back, let them screws drop out onto the desk. Have to come out, yep, there they go. Put one in there, and put that one over there. So please be careful when you open these Commodores, they have some clips at the back. I don't know what this one's like, some are really thin, some are really thick. The little thin ones just snap off for fun, the thick ones seem to be all okay. So let's have a look. Oh, so I've left myself a little note, look. Forgotten about that. Let's just remove the keyboard. These ones have the thick clips, so we're okay, they're not going to break very easily. I'll just move that out of the way. Take off a little piece of paper. And as you can see in here already, we've got U17 and U18 that's missing. So which is the PLA and the SID chips. So I'm just going to pinch a PLA and a SID chip from somewhere else. So I have one of these little PLA replacements that I like to use. I'm just going to pop that in U17 in there. Don't really need to bother with the SID chip at the moment, so we won't bother with the SID chip. So what I'm going to do now is just pop the aerial in. And pop the power in, and we'll flick the telly on and see if anything comes on. So TV's switched on. I'm just going to pan you up to that now. So let's flick the switch and see what happens. And we get nothing but me on the TV. Right, so we've got nothing. Well, we have got something. No signals disappeared off the screen. So we can see that there is actually a video signal being provided to the television set. So we are getting something. So I'm going to switch it off now. There's 2 cartridges that I'm going to try at the moment. One of them is going to be Jupiter Lander and a dead test. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go for the Jupiter Lander first. The reason why I go for Jupiter Lander first is because it bypasses most of the things that you need. You only need, I think it's the PLA, CPU and video chip. I'm not quite sure what you need. So let's flick it on and see if Jupiter Lander starts, see if we get any difference. We've got this black screen again and nothing. I can just see, can you see? Let me just put my finger down. There's just a line down that screen just there, look. So you can see that it's outputting video. Oh, we've got a bit of something on screen, so that's telling us that there's video chips working okay. The 8701 timer chip at the side of the video chip's okay. The processor is actually processing something, but we're getting a bit of garbly on there, so it is looking a little bit more like RAM. And try it again, on and off. Yeah, things are changing all the time there, so it does look a little bit to be down to RAM. So let's change that Jupiter lander. Let's put the dead test in and see what the dead test does. So that's dead testing now. Let's flick her on and see what she does. Oh, we've got some flashes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's switch that off. So, looking up on the dead test manual, I can't quite tell what this board is. It's a 205 425, but I can't see any Rev edition on it. I think the Rev edition, let's just pan you back down to the 64. I think you can see the writing down here when it normally has Rev A, Rev B, something down there on there. But I think the Rev is under this plate for some reason. I think it got hidden. So I'm a little bit unsure. But on the early ones, the early ones, if it's 4 flashes, then it's U23. If it's on the later boards, like the short boards, then it's U11. So the next long boards, there's 3 sort of type of long boards that it shows on the dead test. They're showing up as U9. So I'm suspecting that it's going to be this RAM chip. Whether I can lift it up or not. But you can see there, that one just there is U9. So I'm going to follow what dead tests tell me on this one. I'm not going to deviate from it anywhere. I'm just going to do what the dead test tells me. So what we're going to change that RAM out. I'm going to put a socket in it and put that RAM in. But what I'm going to do in the meantime, when I get that chip out, we're going to put it into a ZIF board. If you watched one of my previous videos, you saw me create the ZIF 64. So I'm going to pop it inside here, that RAM chip, and we're going to see if the ZIF will fire up when we get that RAM chip out. So that'll give us a good indicator whether it is actually that chip or whether it's not. Because it could be something else that's pulling it down. So I want to test that little RAM chip as well. We've got plenty of them, so we're going to be okay on that side of it. Let's have a quick look at this RAM. Find me magnifier, wherever it's disappeared. Maybe not. No, there she is. So just excuse my old eyes. So it's not an MT RAM, which is the usual case. This is a TMS 4164-20. I don't have any -20s, I only have some -15s, which are a little bit slightly faster on the RAM, which is okay. We can go slightly faster, we can't go slower. So, I'm going to take this board out of this unit, get some flux put down onto this RAM chip, and get a socket put in there. And we'll have a look at it and see what goes on. Right, so we've got a RAM chip out of there now. That came out really nice and clean. There isn't any traces lifted or anything on there, that looks good. Let's look at the back side. Yeah, it looks good. You can see in places it's been a bit of rework there. These other multiplexer chips have been reworked. You can see the solder on them ones. You can see that the PLA, moving back into screen, you can see the PLA has had some work done onto it, so it may have had a socket in there. At the side of the PLA, the colour ramp's been played with. There's another socket down the bottom there, I don't know what that one is. Yeah, 2 sockets in there, look. Excuse me, that back out. So these 2 sockets have been changed, these sockets have been changed. This one's been done as well. So these have had some sockets in the past. So let's get that other chip wherever she's gone. Let's move this board out of the way for the minute. Let's bring the ZIF board into play. Here's this little RAM chip that we've took out. I'm just going to put that to one side for a minute. I'll pull a ZIF 64 up. We'll flip the lid. Let's put the... I might just take that off for the minute because we don't really need it. So just take the lid out of the way for now. Flip this little lever up here. Let's just test this one first, just in case something's gone wrong in the meantime. I'm quite silly. Just a 2-bar. So we should always have a baseline first, where if you switch them on, just pan you up a little bit. So we'll switch you on. And we've got this Commodore screen flashing away, look. So we know that works. So if we go back down to that RAM chip now. Okay, so we'll flip this RAM out. Move that RAM out of there. Let's put this RAM chip in. We'll leave it down. Pan the camera up. Do we get anything on the screen? Ha! What do you know? It certainly wasn't that RAM chip, was it? So I'm going to have to move on now and remove another RAM chip. Let's have a look. So I can suspect either U11, which is it should be 11 much on this board. So we'll try U11. So at least we know we've got a good RAM chip. Yeah, time to move on. So you can see down there where I've marked them, that's U11 and that's U23. So as I said, I couldn't tell which rev this was because it's hidden underneath the heatsink for the voltage regulator. So I've just gone ahead anyway and gone for it. So I'm going to take out U11 and U23 and then we'll have a look. We'll have a look at them 2 chips in the ZIF board. So I'll be right back when I've got these 2 chips out. Right, so we've got his U11 and his U23 chips out now. So before I put sockets in them, what I'm going to do is put the U11 and U23 into the ZIF board again and let's see if they work. Right, so this is a U11, which is actually going back into. Take that one out, put that down to one side, put that chip in, shove the lid down, and properly. Yeah, that's in properly. Flip the switch. and the screen still comes on. So it wasn't U11. So we'll take that back off again. Take this U11 out, put it into there. Go for a U23 RAM chip. Let's pop that in there. Let's see if that's it. Let's see if that's gone. Ah, it looks like we've found U23 bad RAM. Let's take that back off again. Take that RAM chip out and put his original one back into the Commodore, which was working. Shut that down. Flick the switch. And we've got a screen again. Flick the switch off. Take that RAM chip out. Put a suspect bad RAM back into there. Shut his little lever down. Make sure it's sat in there nice. Pointer's at the top. Flick the switch. We've got bad RAM, guys. U23. U23 was the bad RAM chip. So, going off the dead test, which piece of paper we got here a while ago, which is 4 flashes. So we had U23, U9 or U11. I suspected U9 originally, but we were wrong, and it was U23. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean them chips up, put sockets back in that board, and replace with a new chip for U23. And let's see if this new board gets back up and running. So I'll be right back after I put the sockets back into the board. Right, so I've got the sockets back in U9, U11. I've put the original chips back into the seats, into the correct places where they were originally. I've got a pack of 4164 RAM chips. So I'm just going to pull one of these out now and have a look at the legs. Can't really see, I'll try and focus. So quite look at the legs. Yeah, the legs are looking good. That's okay. Don't worry about anti-static straps. I have one of them connected to my leg. You can't see it, but I do. So let's put this RAM chip into that socket. And these are a 12, so I'm hoping this one's going to be okay. Should be 20s, but it's faster speed anyway. So let's slide that in there. So that's that RAM chip in there now. That says new. Oops, sorry for the focus. That says new U23 that's in there now. So let's start it up and see if it works. Just make sure the television's set on the correct channel. Yep, we're still on SCART. So if I flip this power switch now, let's see if it works. I'll just pan you up. Flick the switch. Yay! We're working! So it was just that U23 RAM chip that was at fault. So I didn't really need to do these other two. I know some of you are thinking there, well, okay, you've got an oscilloscope at the side of you there. I do have an oscilloscope. I could have used the oscilloscope to diagnose that RAM chip, but I've said it before to you guys that I like to repair things so you guys can have a go at home, and not many people at home have the likes of oscilloscopes. So I could have, like I said, I could have gone down the oscilloscope line and shown you how to do that, but I'd rather do it in a way that you guys can repair these at home. So, is it all working? Is it all 100% okay? So I'm just going to pause you on camera at the minute. I'm going to clean these edge connectors up. What I use is a bit of Brasso. It is a bit of aggressive, but it does clean them contacts up really well. You can use a Brasso, just make sure you clean it off with IPA very well afterwards, and you've got none of that left on the board at all. So I'm just going to do that then. I'm going to plug in the diagnostic cartridge and the harness, and let's see what comes up with the diag. I'm going to pop a proper original PLA in, because it's going to fail using that PLA because it doesn't support paddles. And I'm going to pop a sound chip in. I might just put the arm SID in for the time being, or I might put an original one in and we'll have a look. But I'm going to do that now, and then I'll come straight back to you and we'll have a look and see what the diagnostic cartridge says about the rest of this machine. So here we are, we're back. I've got cleaned up all the connectors just to show you what was on them connectors. Look at that, how dirty that is. And that's not just one, I've got a whole bunch of them in here, and all of them have all come off the edge connectors and the tape connector port, and that's just using a little bit, like I said, of the Brasso and then cleaned up with IPA afterwards. But all that is really manky, so that's cleaned up really well. I've put a normal PLA in. I've taken this one out because it will fail, and the SID for the paddles, etc. and stuff like that. PLA is not really controlling there, but if you look, the R pin's missing off it. Look, there's one missing there just by my thumb. I think that's it really. Yeah, there's just one. There's a pin missing off my thumb. So these tend to fail on the dead test cartridge. I have stuck a SID in there. That SID, it's more of a test SID. It's not brilliant. It could be better on the sound, but you can hear it making little pops as it changes the sounds on there. But it's one that I use for a test SID rather than using a good SID. I know it's got issues, so there's not really any point in doing anything else there, but I use it for the dead test purposes only. So, is this unit good? Is there any other faults with this unit? So let's pan you up to the screen, and you can see my mug again behind the camera, and then we'll flick the switch and see exactly what comes on. So let's flick that switch and see what happens with the dead test. Fingers crossed we're all good. On she goes. Yeah, look at that screen. So the count at the bottom is 0, bottom left. The bottom two figures, looks like times down there for your CIA chips. And we've got 9 seconds AM, 13 seconds AM on both. So they look pretty much in sync. If you get a CIA chip out, sometimes them timings can go out. We've passed on the screen RAM, passed on the RAM test 1, we've passed on the RAM test 2, PLA's passed okay. It's just going through the colour RAM now. Colour RAM's good, basic ROM's good, character ROM's good, cassette ports, ooh, look at that. Everything looks all okay, we're just waiting for the interrupt. Yep. And there's the SID singing. So I would say that's a good test. You can just hear that SID making silly noises if you listen to it. I'll let it run round again one more time, and I'll turn the sound up a little bit, and then you can hear that SID what I was saying earlier. The second run through. Nearly there. We'll bosh down there and go to interrupt. Going to wait. Interrupt's going to do, and then the SID will kick in. Just have a listen. Yeah, so you can hear that, can't you? That SID chip just making a bit of a crackle. So I would say that is another Commodore 64 repair. So I'm going to pull this board back out now, drop the SID out, drop the PLA back out, put it back into its unit, put a little sticker on saying all good, just needs these 2 chips, and I can pop that back into storage for a while. So there's this bucket of chips. It's can see there's quite a lot, if you notice in there. Bend the legs over. I do it on purpose so I can't pick it up. Whoops, let me turn that sound off. Just crank it down a little bit out of the way, it'll disappear in a second. But yeah, this is my little chip box. And here we have the RAM chip. All I do is fold the legs over on both sides, like that, squish it down, and that just makes sure that I won't use that chip again. So that goes into the chip box, and we're done. So we're all back together. I popped the cartridge in. You can see now, got Badlands running on the cartridge. So I've just, what I did is, I just plugged the keyboard back in just a bit, make sure the keyboard were all working, and went through, pressed all the keys, and all the keys are fine and dandy. It's all working fine. So this wants a bit of a clean up now, and then it can go back into storage, or for somebody that wants to buy one. I do have quite a lot of people contacting me and saying, do I have any spare 64s? Mine's broken. So sometimes what I do is I say, well, send me it in, let me have a look at your 64 for you. If I can repair it, I'll repair it. If I can't repair it, and the board's pretty good, I'll exchange it. I'll give you another board, a working board. So you will always get a working board back from me with the Commodore 64s. And then what I do later on is I just spend more time myself plottering away and bring that other board back to good. And then that goes into storage for the next person that needs another board. Hi, so you saw there, we had a bit of problems with the RAM. I suspected U9, it wasn't U9. I suspected U11, and it wasn't a U11. And finally we found it down at U23 with the RAM chip. So that's this Commodore 64 back up and running. It's going to go back into storage now, unless I need to use it, or if somebody else needs to purchase one from me. You're quite welcome to. If you want to send one in for repair, you're welcome to do that too. You will always get a working board back one way or another. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I know I've not been here last week. I was going to do another video last week, but we've been on holiday, been up to Scotland, had a little bit of troubles going up to Scotland. When I got back, the heart wasn't in it very much. So I just rested up last weekend, and we're back to it for every Saturday again for the videos. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please like, subscribe and hit the little bell. That'll notify you for up and coming videos. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Bye!